Ancient Rome was one of the most incredible times in history. Rome ruled countries all over Europe and some countries in Africa and Asia. Some Romans also invented incredible technology.
Romans invented lots of clever things we still use today, such as roads, concrete, arches, sewers, the calendar we use now, books, plumbing, heating systems, aqueducts, newspapers, and heated baths. They had a lot of luxury. Many Roman buildings are still standing today all over the world.
Romulus and Remus are the twin brothers who founded ancient Rome. They were said to be brought up by wolves. Eventually a shepherd found them and they grew up to build Rome. They had a fight. Remus was killed.
Romulus officially founded Rome on April the 31st, 753 BC. The city grew for over 1,000 years. Rome would become one of the most powerful cities in the world.
Rome was founded in 753 BC by its first king, Romulus. It grew into a rich and powerful city during the next few hundred years. The Roman Empire included the whole of Italy, all the lands around the Mediterranean, and much of Europe, including England, Wales, and parts of Scotland.
The Roman Empire lasted 507 years. The Roman Empire was the largest empire of the ancient world. The Roman Empire came to Ireland but thought it was too cold and left.
Poor people in Rome lived in simple flats. These flats usually only had 2 rooms and were known as insulae.
Villas were large country houses built for the Roman upper class. These villas were luxury homes for the rich. The Roman villas were much more comfortable and spacious than the poor people's homes in villas. The villas had many modern features such as underfloor heating, tiled mosaics, lead water pipes and glass windows. There were many rooms including the kitchen, bathrooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, staff rooms and pools.
Only children from wealthy families went to school. They used wax tablets instead of paper. Children would use pig's bladder blown up like a balloon to play football. In ancient Rome, boys could get married at 14 and girls were able to get married at 12.
Girls stayed at home and helped their mothers in household chores. Some boys in Rome helped their fathers in work. Children played games with their toys in the afternoon and evening.
Roman dress was different from one class to another. The tunic was worn by common people, such as herdsmen and slaves. Tunics were made of rough, dark material. Important and rich Romans dressed in a long robe called a toga. Only Roman citizens were allowed to wear a toga. The rich women wore a stola tied with a belt made out of a silk. In the winter, the rich wore a cloak.
There were gods for just about anything. Many Romans had a shrine in their house to worship their personal household gods. Roman gods were blamed or credited with everything. Some famous gods were Jupiter, Mars, and Neptune.
There are lots of Roman goddesses such as Juno, Diana, and Venus, and I picked Diana. Diana was Apollo's twin, Jupiter her father, king of the gods, and her job was to bring out the moon.
The Roman ate 3 meals a day and the food they ate depended on how rich they were. The main food the poor ate was porridge called pulse. Pulse was made by mixing ground wheat and water together. The Romans' 3 meals, Lactranium breakfast, Prandium lunch and Cena is dinner. Rich Romans ate food like pork, fish, and beef. The Romans really liked wine and sometimes drank water.
Slavery was an important part of Roman life. Romans, especially the rich ones, depended greatly on their slaves for maintaining a luxurious lifestyle. These slaves did most of the work for their masters.
The Romans kept people they conquered, mostly the soldier and women, as slaves for a while. The slaves cooked for the Romans. Slaves had to bring people to the vomitorium, a room where people went to get sick. Slaves had the disgusting job of holding the sick bowl. Gross!
After 20 years of service in the Roman army, the soldiers were awarded lander money. A soldier would carry 90 pounds of weight, which is 3 of my dogs, and walk 20 miles. When a country was defeated, they took their soldiers to fight for the Roman army.
The spread of the Roman Empire was due to the fact that the Roman army was very well organised. At one time, the Roman army was the most disciplined and efficient killing machine the ancient world has ever known. A Roman soldier wore armour made from strips of iron and leather and a metal helmet. They had a sword, dagger and a curved shield.
The Colosseum was a huge stadium that held 80,000 people. People went to the Colosseum to watch battles and gladiators fighting. Sometimes the stadium was flooded so people could see battles.
Gladiators fought in the Colosseum, also known as the Flavian Amphitheatre. Gladiators fought fiercely until death. They were usually slaves. Gladiators fought badly treated fierce animals and other gladiators. Most gladiators were chubby because they wanted extra protection.
The leader of the Roman Empire was called the Emperor. The Emperor Caligula suffered from an illness that affected his mind. He made his horses sedative. August is named after the Emperor Augustus. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BC and became a successful man. He became a murderer, a murder victim, a major god, and a war general. He became the most successful politician in the Roman Empire. But Caesar also started a civil war by bringing his own personal army in, which was against the law. The month of July is named after the successful Caesar, who was killed in 44 BC. He was stabbed to death by 23 people, including his friend Brutus.
Latin was the main language spoken in ancient Rome. Many English words came from Latin, including cent, which means 100.
The Latin language comes from a part of central Italy called Latium, around 753 BC. Latin is part of the Greek alphabet. In ancient Rome, the Latin language had many different variations which were spoken in many different areas.
For over 1,000 years, Rome ruled a lot of Europe. The city of Rome fell in 476 AD. The fall of Rome didn't happen in one day, it happened over a long time.
There are lots of reasons why Rome fell. Some reasons were it was attacked by barbarians, there were less slaves to work, the splitting of empire into east and west, the army was less strong than it used to be, Christianity taking over, and politics.